Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at my entire military mock collection. As you can see, we've got aircraft, tanks, trucks, and much more. These designs are from my various videos, brick films, tutorials, and many of them are actually available on my website at jdbrick.com. Now the scale of these models, of these designs, are for the most part 1 stud equals 1 foot. However, a few of them are a bit smaller than that or a bit larger, but for the most part the scale is 1 stud for 1 foot. Now these are all 100% Lego, except for the few exceptions for these cloth pieces on the 2 Jeeps and the string on the aircraft over there. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into the first model. So first up we have the 37mm anti-tank gun. This is an American anti-tank gun used in World War II. And it was seen in my video, The Battle of the Bulge. Okay, so next up we have the Revolutionary War cannon. Now, this is just a generic cannon. It can be used in any time period around the 1700s and 1800s. And it was seen in my video, The Battle of Trenton and the Battle of New Orleans. Moving on, we have the German artillery piece. I believe it was an 18-pounder. I used it in my video, The Battle of Cambrai. Apparently it was quite a good gun against tank armor, and that is how I used it in my video. Alright, next we have the Pak 40. This is a lesser known design of mine. It was only available on my website for a short period of time, and I decided to discontinue it since I didn't quite like the design. Not because of the looks, I actually like the look a lot, but it was a bit delicate, and so I decided to discontinue it. Maybe someday I will redesign it a bit more sturdier, and then I'll re-release it. Okay, next we have the World War II American Jeep. I quite like this design. It's quite a nice compact little Jeep here. It was used in my video, The Battle of the Bulge. At least the first version of this Jeep was. I've made some modifications and improvements to it, and it is also available on my website. Okay, here we have a German Howitzer from World War I. I used this in my video, The Battle of Verdun. I believe it had a 188mm barrel, so it was definitely quite a large gun. Moving on, we have the FT-17. This is definitely one of my favorite tanks of all time, and this is my second design. I have not used it in a video yet, but I do hope to use it someday. And this is also available at jdbrick.com. Next up we have the M3 Stuart. This was designed for my video, The Battle of El Alamein, and I have also made a dark gray version for the European theater of the war. Alright, all the way over here we have another howitzer. This is the French one that was used in my video, The Battle of Verdun. There is a tutorial for this gun on this channel that I made a while ago. I believe the bore size was 155mm, so this was also quite a large gun. Okay, next up we have this World War I supply truck. This was also used in my video, The Battle of Verdun. The only difference is I have added a cloth canvas instead of the paper one that I used in that video. The cloth is definitely much more durable, and I think it also looks better. Alright, next up we have the Panzer III. This was used in my video, The Battle of El Alamein. Moving on, we have the Panzer II. This is definitely my favorite tank that was used in the Battle of El Alamein. And because of that, I've actually made it into a kit, which is available on my website. Alright, here we have the M4 Sherman. This is a later version of the Sherman that I used in the Battle of the Bulge video. And I also have a desert themed Sherman as well. Okay, next up we have the Matilda tank. I forget which version it is. I believe it would be the Mark II. I believe there's two versions, Mark I and Mark II. This was used in my video, The Battle of El Alamein. Alright, moving on, we have another tank from my video, The Battle of El Alamein. This is the Panzer IV with the 88mm either howitzer or mortar gun. I forget the exact name. But yes, it is a variant of the Panzer IV. Moving on, we have the Crusader, which again was used in my video, The Battle of El Alamein. Okay, next up we have the Classic Tiger. This is probably my most well-known model, and many of you guys like the tutorial I made for it. I believe it has over 700,000 views as of the making of this video. So definitely one of my most well-known designs. And as you might notice, the scale of this Tiger is substantially smaller than most of my other designs. That is because I did not use the 1 stud to 1 foot scale. I do hope to make a full scale Tiger sometime. Alright, here we have a cartoonishly small Eindecker plane. This is from World War I. It was a German plane, and it was used in my video, The World War I Dogfight. Okay, moving on, we have a World War II Deuce and a half supply truck. As you might notice, this is only a prototype, since I don't have all the right pieces for it. I'm still working on this design, and I hope someday to release it as a kit on my website. Next up we have the Higgins landing craft. This was most famously used in the D-Day landings at Normandy, and was also used in my video, The Battle for Omaha Beach. Next we have the standard Panzer IV. This is the last design I have here from my El Alamein video. Okay, moving on, we have the Sopwith Camel. This was the second plane from my dogfight video, and it is also quite small compared to the other designs. I believe it should be almost twice the size if I were to use the 1 stud equals 1 foot scale, but I still like the design. Over here we have the Mark IV tank. This was the main tank that the British used during World War I. And this particular design has a fascine on the top here. And that was dropped into the wider trenches and that would allow the tanks to cross if the trench was too wide for the tank to cross on its own. And this design was used in my video, The Battle of Cambrai, and an earlier design was used in my video, The Battle of Villers-Bretonneux. And next we have the A7V. This design is a bit larger than my other designs as far as the scale goes. I did that because I couldn't figure out a way to make it any smaller, so I had to stick with the larger scale. Alright, so next we have the Huey, the classic Huey, used during Vietnam. It was also used in my video, the Vietnam stop motion, Ride of the Valkyries. This is my first helicopter I've ever designed, and I definitely worked hard trying to figure out how to make a sliding door. I took some inspiration from Brickmania's design. So yes, that's the Huey. And for those that are interested, I will be releasing a kit of this on my website in the near future. Alright, so lastly we have the Swordfish. This is by far my favorite plane I have here. Now this plane is actually to scale. So the wingspan here is about 40 feet, so I made it about 40 studs wide. As you can see, I've made all the flaps and rudders articulate. That is one of the nice things of building large planes. You can add a bit more features. I also have a torpedo underneath. If you are wondering why you haven't seen this plane yet, it is because it is for an upcoming video. Alright everybody, so that is my entire collection of military vehicles slash aircraft slash artillery guns. Now these are just the ones I have built currently, so I'm sure there's a few others that I've used in my videos that I don't have here, but these are all the vehicles that I have currently built. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Feel free to comment which one was your favorite. Personally, my favorite tank has got to be the M3 Stuart tank. Maybe the Panzer II. It's probably a tie between those two. My favorite howitzer slash artillery piece is either the French howitzer or possibly the PAC-40. And my favorite aircraft, like I said earlier, is definitely the Swordfish torpedo plane. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I said, many of these designs are available on my website, jdbrick.com. So if you're interested, feel free to check that out. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time.